There's no water in this lake. They completely drained it. I mean, my heart sank. What did I just do?
Like, you had no bad boat selling habits because you never sold a boat.
100%.
Right? It's like, hey, well, we're kind of building it while we're flying here.
The boat that we have sitting on the showroom floor, it's unique in the sense that there's not another one out there.
How do you start building momentum at this dealership that sold 8 boats a year? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spangle, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Here in Indiana, chances are you've heard the name Keller & Keller, and there's a reason so many Hoosiers trust them when something goes wrong. Keller & Keller is a local personal injury law firm that's been helping people across Indiana for over 90 years, and they've built their reputation on one simple thing: showing up for Hoosiers when they need it most. You talk to real humans, you get real answers, and they're available 24/7 by phone or live chat, so you're never stuck wondering what to do next. Whether it's a car accident, a truck crash, or an injury that's turned your life upside down, Keller & Keller knows how to deal with insurance companies and fight for what's fair, so you get to focus on your recovery. If you or someone you love has been hurt, don't fight alone. Call Keller & Keller or chat anytime at 2keller.com. That's the number 2keller.com. Keller & Keller, right here for Indiana when it matters most. Now let's get back into the episode. My guest today is J Hurless, and he is the co-owner of Reeder Trausch Marina, an Indiana-based boating dealership and service company that has expanded significantly through acquisitions and community engagement. Before entering the marine industry, Jay built experience in automotive retail and leadership roles, and later co-acquired Denny's Marina in Indianapolis to grow the company's footprint. He's also involved in industry leadership initiatives, including participation in the Marine Retailers Association of America's Young Leaders Advisory Council. Today, we're going to be talking about how they found a niche in marine, how they took a local family business and helped just pour gasoline, rocket fuel on this thing. And Jay has an incredible story of resilience, of determination, of grit. This is going to be a great episode for any entrepreneurs out there that are looking for a little inspiration of, no matter what the circumstances are, you can make big things happen. Jay, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
I got to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to my guy, Chad Sellers.
Yeah.
He made this intro and said, dude, there's this company out in Rockville doing big things in the boating industry that you need to know about. And as I dug in, did some research, learned a little bit, the run you guys have been on is insane. For perspective for the listeners out there, where was Reeder Trausch at when you guys first, got involved in the boating industry?
Reeder Trausch Marine was technically founded in 1996 by a gentleman named Larry Reeder and another gentleman named Scott Trausch. And so they went into business together. Larry's daughter ran the books. Scott worked on the boats. Larry helped sell them and store them. And from there, they just were steady Eddie, kept the business going, and it was just a great family business.
Yeah.
So fast forward 2018, me and my partner, Monty Anderson, purchased the dealership from Larry Reeder. Scott Trausch had since then moved on. From there, it's just writing history.
Clearly, if you're going to buy a boat, do you call it a boat dealership, a marine,
right. Yeah.
a boat dealership, you clearly must have had tons of experience in marine. You grew up around boats on the lake. You grew up selling boats, being in the business, right?
Yeah, not at all. No, not at all. No, I bought my first boat back in 2013. Bought another boat, brand new in 2015 from the dealership that we actually now own as well.
Okay.
My business partner did grow up around boats, was big into boats.
Okay.
He was, I grabbed him by the shirt collar and said, dude, you're doing this with me. And so he was there alongside of me the whole way. From when I got my first boat to my second boat, boating with me, helping me maintain my boat, all those things.
Yeah. Okay, so you were a consumer, but you did have sales chops. Before you bought into and acquired Reeder Trausch, you had grown up, kind of being a hustler.
Yeah.
If I get the story correctly, your path to entrepreneurship is not the same that, a lot of paths are. This is a very uncommon path to end up, building a big business. I mean, what were you, a sophomore or junior in high school, and your path kind of diverged from the average high school kid?
Yeah. So I think I was a super junior with freshman credits whenever I dropped out of high school. Just kind of took off running. Money was the game. Hustling was what I knew. So when I turned 19, I was able to land career path over at Ray Skillman in the automobile industry, and just kind of took off from there.
So, one, I think that the odds of anyone that drops out of high school succeeding in anything, the chips are already stacked a little bit against you. Like when you, like, what was the plan? Was it like, I'm dropping out because I'm rebelling against my parents, or I'm dropping it? Like, what was the thought process that led you to make that huge life decision?
I was money focused and not necessarily career driven, but I knew that I wanted to do big things. I knew I wanted nice things at the time. Like that was my focus. Yeah. So I knew in order to do that, I was going to have to go out and make money. And digging my head into books was just not for me. I was not the greatest kid in the world whenever it came down to academics. And so, what I knew was the right path for me was not books.
Okay. So what was the first entrepreneurial endeavor that you were like, okay, or was it just like, I'm going straight to work for someone before you landed at Ray Skillman?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Like I was just odd jobs here and there. I knew I wanted to get into sales. I had buddies in sales that were doing really well. It was really just odd jobs until I could land that sales job. Okay. And then from there, I just got my toe in the water, and then I jumped all the way in. So
you're 19, you get a job at Ray Skillman, and what helped set you apart from, the average car salesman? Like what got you on this path of success in sales?
I don't know necessarily one thing over the other than just first one there, last one out, determined to figure out how to get a car sold every day. I went in on my day off. I worked every single day off. And I just had this vision that I wanted nice things. And so, I knew in order to do that, I had to go through this endeavor of just bettering myself from a communication standpoint, from a serving people standpoint. And that's exactly what I set out to do.
Wow. Okay. How long do you end up working at Skillman?
From 19 to 28. I bought my dealership at 28.
Okay, so you're there for almost a decade.
Yeah, that's right.
And are you like kind of working into management or?
Yeah, so I was one of the younger business managers. So I sold for about 13 months before I worked my way into the business office. And I think I was 20 years old whenever I moved into management and then bought my first home and then just went off from there.
Was there a little bit of a chip on your shoulders / like, you're 20 years old and you're getting promoted and you're like in the business office, like, but you're also not a high school graduate. Like, did you have any sort of like, I don't know, fear, or just like, how do you convince people to follow you, through this journey?
Yeah, I think that was just leading with empathy. Said it right. Like I was 20 years old and I had people that I worked alongside with that were, double, even triple my age. And, but I don't think that they saw it as that. And I know that I never saw it as that. I never quite let it get to my head, but I would say that there were some very humbling moments.
What advice would you have for young people that might find themselves in a leadership role for people that are older than them? Like, I think that is a big point where it's like, people can have intrinsic motivation. They can be like all-out hustlers. But the first time that you have to lead a team and you're the youngest person on the team, that is a little scary. And there's like a lot of, could be anxiety, could just be like imposter syndrome of like, do I belong in this room? Like, I don't know. Like, I can sell a bunch of cars, but telling a 60-year-old that's like 5 years from retirement, like, hey, man, you got to like up your game a little bit. Like, that can be a challenging conversation.
Yeah, well, I think accountability can be challenging no matter how you look at it, no matter what age of person that you're leading. I think one of the things that helped me along the way is not looking at that 40-year-old or that 60-year-old as that they're beneath me, they're alongside me. And I learned a lot from those people. Because those people, maybe that you are leading, still have a lot of experience that you don't even begin to think of yet.
Yeah, they've sold, dozens, 10x more cars. You think about it, they've had a career in selling cars for 20, 30, 40 years. It's like, oh, dude, they've done this. But then you also have to keep your eye on like, well, what does the modern seller look like? What does the modern buyer look like? How are you, some dealerships lean into social media. Other ones are like, you might be cold calling, sending out direct mail. Like there's a lot of modern practices that help Ray Skillman or whoever might be in the car dealership space be and continue to be at top of mind. I think that's it's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
So you're rising through the ranks. talk about there's humbling moments, you're leading teams, you were like, is there what is like your pinnacle like position that you hold within Skillman?
For the majority of my career was as a business manager. I spent some time in sales management. I spent a short stint as a general manager of a Hyundai store. And it was just, all experience,
Yeah. Where did you get the itch of like, okay, this is good. Like, you're doing well. You have a house. You're like, you're beating the odds. You talk about, the adversity type part of, dropping out of high school and going into this. But where do you decide like, hey, I might be built for something bigger. I might be built for something different than the car salesman, the car industry path.
Yeah, I would say about halfway through my career, I kind of had that itch anyways, and I knew that there was more to what I was capable of than what I was doing. So, from there, it was just getting that mindset of, okay, will you go out and take the risk and go do the things that most people aren't willing to do? And, there were just some things that just kind of played out within my personal life that said, you know what? Let's get this done.
I'm going to go make a leap into entrepreneurship. How do you land on Reeder Trausch and getting into the marine industry?
I had my first boat that was actually a trade-in at the dealership, got into boating, really understood that it was a new passion of mine. I like finer and nicer things. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out and get a new boat. Went and bought a new boat from, like I said, a dealership that I now own. And it wasn't a bad experience. It was just an experience where I thought, man, there's just so much more to this that could be had.
Like, take me through what your first experience buying a new boat, which is a large investment of any boat, whether it's like the freaking $10 million yacht or the $120,000 speedboat or whatever it is. Like, it's still a large investment at any scale.
Oh, yeah. So this investment, I think, was in the, $45,000 range. And I think I just annoyed the hell out of these guys. I mean, there became a point where I would sneak in the front door. I would, kind of tiptoe back there and then climb into the boat because I just wanted to go spend time on that boat. Yeah. And I knew that these guys were probably frustrated with me because I hadn't made a decision yet. I was just in there, feeling, touching the boat, taking my time. So through that process, I bet you that process was 3 weeks. And I bet you I was in that dealership for probably 30 hours before it was all said and done.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay. And where along the path did you say like, oh, there could be better touch. This could be a better customer experience that like maybe could have gotten your 3 weeks down to 1 week and you would have felt confident and in control coming out of there with a boat.
Educating me. Yeah. I was a boater, but I really didn't know enough. I knew how to get on the water. I knew how to have a good time with all my buddies out on the water. Right. But
that's my favorite part of boating.
That's exactly right. But as far as like all the ins and outs of a boat, I didn't know it. That's why I had my, not at the time, but my buddy, but my business partner now, he was that guy. He was not there with me purchasing this boat.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like it's for first time boaters or first time brand new, like it's $45,000, large purchase. Second, like what does like the maintenance cost always scares me where it's like, well, you have to pay X amount to store it and X amount to like winterize it. And then you have to pay to get it ready. And like, there are all these things that are kind of like the mystique behind boats where it's like, oh, well, unless you have a large sum of money and you're just like willing to throw whatever at it, it's like, I don't know if it's like an affordable thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great question or a great statement because I still didn't know. I had no idea and nobody educated me through that process. And I look back at like the day that I picked it up and it was like, yep, here's the keys. Here's where you turn the battery on. Here's how you put the cover on. Have a great day. And the first time I put that boat in the water and I backed it off the trailer, boat wouldn't start. It was windy. I was being pushed over to the rocks. Luckily, there was a fisherman out there that saw me, came and grabbed me, dragged me back over to the rocks. I'm calling the dealership, trying to get somebody on the phone. They're telling me to, well, look at this and try that and do this. And it was just, man, that sinking feeling of like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I spent all this money. I'm so frustrated. I just wanted to go out in the water for the day and I can't even get this thing running.
I think that story keeps a lot of people on the sideline when it comes to boats.
That's exactly
It's
right.
like, do I want to go through that? And a little bit like, you talk about backing a boat into the water. It's like, dude, I've done it like 3 times. And it's like every time my heart rate kind of spikes a little bit. It's
That's
like,
right.
all right, everyone's watching you. Sometimes there's like a lineup of like other boats trying to get in after you. And you're like,
you feel rushed.
don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. And it's like, totally. And it's like, and it's like, oh, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'll just keep a lot of friends with boats.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. Well,
so like they can be the ones to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of anxiety behind that, right? And so if you don't know what you're doing, you don't have any experience in what you're doing, it could be very easy to get into boating thinking one thing and get right back out and think,
I'm selling this thing.
Yeah.
What's
Put me a pull in.
What's the return policy, right?
Yeah, there isn't one. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was 2015 when you bought your first boat?
That was
or you bought your first new
2014.
Okay. And then over the next 4 years, where does the opportunity to leave automotive and become a business owner, how does that story end up coming to be?
Yeah, some things changed in 2017. I had bounced from one store to another at Ray Skillman for just where they need me to plug and play. I'd really been doing some soul searching. Some things in my personal life had recently changed, some relationships. And, I just kind of had this, epiphany of like, if I'm going to do it, like, let's just do it. So I started looking at, warehouses. I started looking at commercial real estate for sale. I'm a big Lake Monroe, Bloomington, Indiana, IU, the whole thing, right? And that's where I go boating. So I was really looking down in that area. And I remember as I was doing my Google searches and all the things, I found this boat dealership for sale. And I thought to myself, like, well, I never even thought of that, right? And so this boat dealership was like 2 hours away in this little town, and it wasn't really what I was looking for, but it gave me this like, I bet you there's other boat dealerships for sale. So I took to the internet looking for boat dealerships for sale. I found one in little Rockville, Indiana, and hit up my buddy and said, hey, we got to go check this thing out.
Okay. So you find it on the internet. It was for sale at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys drive out there to shake some hands, kiss some babies?
That's right.
Okay. First time you show up, like, give me your first impression of Reeder Trausch.
Yeah, it was like, okay. Well, we got a lot of cleaning to do, but I think there's some good bones.
And when you buy a boat dealership, what are you actually acquiring? Like, is it a physical property? Is it a brand? Is it inventory?
Those are great questions. A little bit of everything. It all depends on how you work out the deal. But in this particular case, it was the commercial real estate, some parts and accessories inventory. There were some, 6 or 7 boats, 8 boats sitting on the showroom floor. No used inventory.
Now, 6 or 7 boats on the showroom floor. Is that like finance? Like, do you get a line of credit? Because I feel like that's the thing that we've learned with automotive. It's also like, well, if the bank, you can buy this stuff, but if you don't have the credit to put inventory on your floor, you're not going to sell any boats.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's a line of credit through, big box lenders. And this gentleman had that relationship. Mm-hmm. I did not. And that's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah. Where it's like, yeah, congrats. You have this, there's 6 boats. You can make some money off of those, but like, good luck getting, if you think about, you probably need a couple $1,000,000
at least
in in access to capital.
Yeah.
To like get stuff through. We've had, again, like all whether it be car dealerships, whether it be boats, whether, anything like that. They're not just like saying, hey, I'm giving you $70,000 for this truck that I'm going to sell for 90. It's
right.
like, it's all through financing.
That's right.
And that ends up being a thing where you don't always think about going into the business. Like, oh, what kind of access to capital do we have? So how long from the first time you stepped foot at Reeder Trausch to purchasing it? What was that timeline?
First stepped in, I would say November, and we closed March 23rd, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 months.
Yeah.
And you were like, and were you constantly were you doing due diligence and soul searching, or was it just like, that's what it takes to do, to get a deal done?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I had no idea what I was doing. There was very little due diligence, and I think that's what it took to negotiate a deal and make it to the closing table.
Wow.
It was
like, what did revenue or what did inventory out the door? Like how much were they selling? A lot of boats?
Yeah, great question. No, they were not. He ordered 8 boats every year, 4 from one manufacturer, 4 from another. He paid for 4 out of his own pocket. He financed the other 4 out of one of those big box floor plan companies, and he sold those 8 boats. When season came back around, he ordered another 8 boats. So in 2017, he did $375,000 for the business.
Okay, so you do $375. You make a Rockville lifestyle. You're like not doing bad. You're hanging out. It's a family business.
Own the property, and it's been there forever.
And it was him and his daughter. So 2 people, you're probably chilling.
That's right.
And if you're towards the end of your career, like the idea of going and growing a huge company or buying more inventory than you need and having to figure out marketing it, it's like, no, we know every 10, we have probably a list of 100 customers or whatever. And every 10 years or 5 years, they're going to cycle out their old boat, cycle in a new boat, and they'll come here because we'll see them at church in the fish fry.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 100%.
So you acquire this.
Yep.
And it's you and a business partner?
Yep.
And did you guys have to move to Rockville? How? Because the other piece I'm always curious about is you're an outsider. Yeah. You're not one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great story. So when I first developed the plan of how I was going to do this, and taking my entire life savings and every penny I had, and equity from my home and all the things I was going to do to get it done. And my girlfriend at the time is my wife now. I told her, I said, in order to get this done, there was a house on the property. I said, we're going to have to move to that house. We're just going to have to do it because I'm not going to have a paycheck for a long time. Luckily, I lived well below my means, but it still didn't matter. I still had bills and all the things. And so the second visit, the owner, who went to Florida for 6 months out of the year, he flew back in from Florida to meet us. And then I brought my girlfriend and then my partner and his wife at the time. We were walking through the house, and I could just see the look on my girlfriend's face. And I think it was that night or the night before she just started bawling. just crying and not wanting to move out there. And I said, okay, let me figure this out. I went back to the drawing board and I was like, look, here's the deal. You don't pay anything towards our bills right now. If you pick up a couple bills, then I think that we could ride this out for I don't take any equity from the house. We just keep moving. We can ride this out for 8 or 9 months. And hopefully by then I'll be making some money.
No way.
Yeah.
So you don't end up having to move to Rockville.
Don't move to Rockville.
But there was probably some nights where you're like, hey, having a house on the property is not bad. It's
we thought about it. Never stayed there.
Never.
No.
Wow.
No, we hardly ever use it other than the remodel on the bathrooms. We use the house as a portalette. We used it for the restroom, and then once the remodel was done, we were looking to expand. We tore the house down.
Dude, what was that commute?
It was an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half.
An hour and a half each way every day.
Every day.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Okay, so here's the question now. You get the deal. Were there moments that you thought the deal was going to fall through?
Oh, there were several moments.
Yeah.
There were several moments. When we first walked the property, the deal was everything's included, right? And they had this side-by-side sitting in the garage. And so, we're going through the deal and all the things. And I asked about, hey, what year is the side-by-side? And the realtor, the broker said, well, it doesn't matter because it's not included. And I said, well, I was told everything was included. And they said, well, the side-by-side's not included. I said, well, the deal's off. And so we went 2 or 3 weeks without even talking to the seller.
Because of the side-by-side?
Because of the side-by-side. And so,
why? What was the thought process behind making a big deal about the side-by-side?
So I didn't need the side-by-side, but I needed capital. And I had already called around, and I'd gotten buy bids on the side-by-side $3,500. And so
$3,500.
I knew that $3,500 was going to be detrimental to having working capital for the business. And so, it was 2 or 3 weeks. They called me and said, hey, they're going to do it. You can have the side by side. And the coolest part about that story is we're at the closing table with the seller and his wife. And I remember thinking one of the first things on my list was to get the side by side out of there and get my $4,000 or whatever. And we signed all the paperwork, and the wife pulls out her purse and she gets out her checkbook and she says, how much for my side by side back? And I looked at her and I said, $9,000. And she wrote me a check for $9,000.
Bro, what?
And I'm like, we walked out of there and just stone face, and we get in the car and I look at Monty and Monty looks at me and we just start dying laughing. I'm like, dude, we got $9,000. What are we going to do with this?
No way.
Yeah,
dude.
It was so cool.
That is hey, now you got working capital.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
We went from $2,000 to, we thought we were going to have 6 and now we got 11. And it's we were on top of the world.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. So they give you the keys.
Yeah.
what's the first thing you have to do? Like, this is March, so you're about to be in season.
Oh, dude, this is wild. So we close at 3:00 on a Friday. And so Saturday morning, I'm like, hey, we're going to head out there and just assess the situation, dive right in. We were keeping the office manager, which was Larry's daughter. She was going to be there. And we hadn't been out there in a while. We hadn't been out there really in months, I don't believe. And so we're driving across the bridge on Raccoon Lake. And I look over to my left and I look over to my right, and there's no water in this lake. They completely drained it. And I remember, I don't even know if I said it out loud. If he was with me, I said it to him, or I just said it to myself. And I thought, what did I just do? And I mean, my heart sank.
There was no water in the lake?
No water. They drained it all the way back to the dam because it's a flood control reservoir. And that's just what it was. They drain it every year. It's wild.
You're going out there to start working on your boat dealership on a lake with no water.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so you're like, so you get there.
All in.
And like, what do you do? How do you start selling boats?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I remember getting there.
And what year is this, by the way? Sorry?
This is 2018.
2018.
And I remember getting there, and so I sat down with Stephanie, who was our office manager at the time, and it was the first conversation that I had with her on Saturday. And I said, look, I don't have a paycheck. Monty doesn't have a paycheck. But I don't know that I can sleep at night knowing that somebody works with me or for me for $10 an hour. So today you're going to make $11.50. And she was very appreciative because her dad was paying her $10 an hour.
Yeah.
And I said, so tell me, like, what all are you doing this time of year? She goes, well, we're getting geared up and we got our storage customers and the phone starts ringing. But mostly during the winter, she just sat there, and if the phone rang, it rang. She answered it. She had a TV on the wall. She watched soap operas. She came and gone as she pleased. Yeah. Yeah. There wasn't a lot going on in Rockville, Indiana.
Yeah. I mean, it's March. It's like, you get the storage and you're holding on to some boats and you're like, collect your mailbox money and get ready for when there's water in the lake again.
That's right.
So how do you start to build positive momentum? Because I think a thing with startups is even if you're not necessarily winning with the checkbook and you're not making a ton of money, momentum matters.
Yeah.
So how do you start building momentum at this dealership that sold 8 boats a year?
Yeah. So at that point, I'm like, in my mind, I was doing anything I could to bring a revenue dollar in because I just knew that it was a fight or flight. Yeah. I've got a mortgage on this place. I've got an employee. Like, what can I do? Right. So, but the place was dirty. The place was nasty and it was embarrassing. So, first 2 weeks I was on my hands and knees. I took everything off the shelf. I wiped everything down. I wiped down the shelf. I put it all back on. I started answering the phone myself, not having her answer the phone to introduce myself. We sent out a letter to all of our storage customers and any other customers that we had in their handwritten database and just let them know that, hey, we're under new ownership and, some things are going to change, but they're going to change for the better.
Were you well received in Rockville at the beginning?
No.
Okay.
No.
And was there a way that you worked to bridge that?
Yeah. So I heavily got involved in the community. I got on with the Chamber of Commerce and started getting to know local business owners.
Yeah.
Just, getting to know the customers and, just looking to not be that outcast of the 2 guys from Greenwood, Indiana.
Yeah. What was the first dollar that you guys made? Like, when did you get a dollar through the door after buying this boat dealership?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So at that point, all friends and family, they're excited. So I had friends and family coming out, buying a battery for their lawnmower. We had a filling station, so we could fill propane, like physically fill it. Not like you go to the gas station, you drop off one and pick up another. Like this had a weigh station on it, and you literally filled up the tanks. So we just, ran dollars to the cash register.
Yeah, like, odds and ends. It's like you're definitely like losing money driving to Rockville to buy a battery for your lawnmower, but good friends to have.
That's right.
Take me through the first season. Your first season owning a boat dealership. Again, previous year, you do 8 boats. That's what was sold. You buy 4. Like, what did getting the right inventory look like? And how did you start to tip the scales in your favor?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So first thing I did within the first couple of weeks is I pulled all the boats out of the showroom, wiped them down. I brought them in one by one. I took photos with my iPhone. We had launched a website, luckily, even before we had closed on the dealership. And before
They didn't have a website?
They didn't have a website, no.
Okay,
No.
so that's also a way to identify opportunity.
That's right.
There are some decent-sized local businesses that don't have a web presence at all. I mean, especially in 2018, and I feel like now this is the whole thing, like find old school businesses that don't have websites, and it's like, it's 2026. Like, a lot of places have gotten something stood up. But, 8 years ago, yeah, for sure, you get a website going.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we got the boats online. Had a couple storage customers call me, hey, we didn't use the boat last year. We want to get rid of it, that type of thing. Matter of fact, the first boat that I sold was a used boat out of storage. And I remember when I took over the business, they lived in the house for 2 weeks because they had bought another house. They lived on property. They bought another house, but they hadn't closed on it yet. So we agreed to let them live there for 2 weeks. So Larry would come over and he would answer questions for me. And I said, so what do you do to find out what these boats are worth, right? There's no, with cars, you just go online and you can, go on to NADA or JD Power. And there just really wasn't anything like that for boats. And he had 2 big blue books. And he's like, yep, this one's for boats. This one's for trailers and motors. And you just flip to the book, you find the boat, and this is what it's worth. So this guy calls me from storage. He says, hey, we want to get rid of the boat. What's it worth? I get the 2 books out. And I remember I said, hey, I think you're going to be around 7,000. And he says, well, that's a little low, but we would do that. I get the boat out of storage. I take photos of it. Within a day, I get a phone call. The guy comes and buys it. And I remember I sold it for $9,700. And the guy gives me all $100 bills. I was so excited. I remember getting money and said, hey, dude, we just made our first $2,000. Like, it was just like, it was so cool. Right. And so I'm like, well, I got to get the title. So I call the customer and the customer says, yeah, I talked to my wife and there's just no way we're going to sell that boat for $7,000. And I'm thinking, what'd I just do? I just took this guy's money. I got a receipt. This guy's thinking he's picking up the boat on Friday. I got no titles. I got no cover for the boat. And now the customer's telling me they don't want to sell it. So that was very unique. It was my first challenge being a boat dealership owner. I spent some time on the phone with the customer over the next couple of days, ended up getting them a little bit more money. We made a little bit less and we made the transaction work, but it's a really cool story on the first boat that we sold. Yeah.
I mean, you're also like celebrating and then you're like, kind of put your feet to the fire of like, oh yeah, by the way, we're not doing that.
Gut punch.
You're like, oh, can I find a win? Like,
That's right.
What do I got to do to find a win? But you're resilient and you keep going.
That's right.
So you start to sell some boats out of storage.
Yep.
Then you start to put boats up online.
Yep.
So are you getting people, like what's the radius of people coming to Rockville to buy boats?
Yeah. So at that point, my first sell was a guy out of Illinois. And it's so funny. The guy's probably bought 8 or 9 boats from us. He just bought one last week from us.
Who needs 8 or 9 boats?
This guy does.
Hell yeah, bro.
So yeah, I mean, that's just what I did. And I started working through those 8 boats. And then at that point it was like, so how do we get more of these? We had no lines of credit. So I'd reached out to the floor plan lender that had the original 4 boats. And so that was extremely challenging. It doesn't matter how good your credit score is. They want to know how long have you worked there before you bought it? How long were you in the boat business before you bought this one? And the answer to all of those questions were no. They didn't want to give me any money. So we were met with the challenge.
Did they even want to, after you sold the first 4, you sell 4 of their boats that they lended, like on credit. You sell those. Do they even want to give you 4?
When I was having those conversations, and they found out that there were new owners, that they were out of trust with their floor plan and they wanted to come there were 2 boats left and they actually physically wanted to come get them because those boats were not loaned to me. They were loaned to a guy that was no longer here. And they did not want to give me a line of credit to take on those 2 boats or any more.
Wow. So how do you balance that? How do you find a way through?
Monty, my business partner, his uncle's neighbor happened to be a sales rep for Rinker Boat Company. And so he came out and talked to us and he said, what would you guys think about selling Rinkers? And I said, well, that sounds like a great time, but we don't have any money. And I am having a struggle getting money from any of these floor plan lenders. He says, well, let me make a couple phone calls. So, a couple of weeks goes by and he says, hey, I got you guys all hooked up. Got you a line of credit, $200,000, but it is only on Rinker Boat Company. We got our first Rinker boat in. We went to our first dealer meeting with a pontoon manufacturer to order boats. And our sales rep at that pontoon manufacturer says, you guys don't have a line of credit. You can't buy any boats. And I said, yeah, well, I got a line of credit over at XYZ Bank for $200,000. I said, but it's just for Rinker. And he said, well, let me see what I can do. That floor plan lender is actually here at this show. And so I met with them. And by the end of the show, I had the $200,000 moved over to the pontoon manufacturer. Well, 3 weeks later, we went to Rinker to their dealer show. And they were looking at us ordering boats. And they said, well, hold on a minute. You guys had a floor plan with us for $200,000, but I'm showing that that's no longer there. And you guys have already filled it up with pontoons. So they worked to get us another $500,000, and then the rest was history. We got $14 million in inventory right now on floor plan credit.
That's crazy. $14 million in credit.
Yeah, it's wild.
Was it like bad? I mean, like the relationship, like, oh, we just gave you 200 and you worked behind the scenes to move it somewhere else. Like, was there ever any like animosity or bad blood there?
No, I don't think so. In this industry, it's not an easy one. Yeah. And we were just looking for somebody to take a chance on us. Yeah. And I think that being just a little bit of young blood and coming up, like I think this floor plan company saw that they were willing to take a chance with us. So I don't think it created any animosity.
Talk to me through the business model for anyone that doesn't know how this works, right? Yeah. So you own the property, like you're paying you have some sort of business loan where you bought Reeder Trausch.
That's right.
You have that. You came probably with some boats or, some accessories, all that stuff. But like how does the business of marine sales and dealerships work?
Every boat dealership is a little bit different, right? Could be on the water, could not be on the water, could offer storage, could not offer storage. But I would say accessories and parts is pretty common. Service department is pretty common. And then sales department is almost a must. And so in order to have inventory, to sell inventory, you got to have money or you got to have somebody that's going to give you money. And so you've got to work on those relationships for somebody to give you money while you're building that nest egg of your own money to be able to supply and demand that inventory, whether it be parts and accessories or whether it be big serialized inventory. I mean, it's just something that takes time.
So you keep saying the word floor plan lender?
Yeah, so that's a bank that gives you money to go buy the thing so you can turn around.
I got you. So there's three parties. You as the retail sales arm.
That's right.
The floor plan lender.
That's right.
Who's like a big bank that says for 10% or 5% or whatever it is, we'll loan you a couple $100,000. You buy from a manufacturer at a slight, I'm assuming there's like a discount or like a dealer rate or whatever. Yep. Buy it there, sell it, pay off your lender.
Yep.
Repeat.
That's right.
Okay. That makes sense. So year one, you bought a business that did 375. How did year one go for you?
Year one did good. We sold the 8. We went to the dealer shows with actual orders already in hand from customers. So that was nice.
So you were pre-selling stuff that you didn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So year one, we did 1.2 million from March to December. Yeah. It was
4X?
Yeah. It was nuts.
Dude.
Opportunity was there though. It was.
Yeah. And like, how were you getting new customers in through the door? How did you 4X a business in 9 months?
Yeah. So social media, resilience and grit.
Were you like dialing like, hey, you've bought a boat here before. You want to buy a boat?
100%.
No, just you?
Yes.
Was Monty, is he like active in the business?
Yes. He is all things service, parts, accessories.
I got you. So you're the sales side of things. Right. Looking for a new place to call home? JC Hart Company has been helping Hoosiers find their perfect fit for 50 years. From Hamilton County to downtown Indy to Bloomington and everywhere in between, they've got over 30 communities plus 7 brand new luxury spots. So there's something for every lifestyle. Every community is designed to make life easier and more enjoyable, and the friendly property management teams are ready to help you find the home that's just right for you. Or are you thinking about a career in property management? JC Hart is not just a great place to live, it's also one of Indiana's best places to work. Check out the open positions on their website at homeisjchart.com to see how you can join the team. Want a peek into life as a resident or team member? Follow them on Instagram at homeisjchart or head to homeisjchart.com to explore locations, careers, and more. JC Hart Company, where your next home sweet home is waiting. So you just start, like, where are you finding the list of customers? How do you know who to reach out to?
We had our own customers, but in 2018, Craigslist was heavy. I was putting inventory on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. I had the website.
You're just hustling.
I was just hustling, man.
And then once you sold through the ones that you had, how were you pre-selling boats you didn't own?
Yeah, so just from storage customers, people walking in the door, we would maybe have 1 or 2, 3 boats on the showroom that hadn't sold or sold and just hadn't been picked up, we would sell off of them to go order more. Just so on and so forth.
So like, hey, this one, you can't have this one, but you can have this boat. We'll get it for you in the spring or in the winter or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. So you go from 375 to 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And then you're off to the races.
That's right.
And where along this journey did you kind of be able to breathe a little bit of like, okay, I think I'm pretty decent at this boat marine space?
When I realized that I was an army of one and it was going to take an army, and when I really took focus in on building a team is when we really scaled the business. So in 2018, we hired our first employee other than the office manager. He's still with me today. And I think by the end of 2018, we had maybe 4 employees. 2019, I still got employees that came on in 2019 that are with me today. One of them now is my general manager and partner at the Rockville location. We had, I think, 9 or 10 employees in 2019.
How many of them are in sales?
At that point, none, just me.
Oh, so they were like more service and delivery, like all of the.
I was hiring to replace the other things that I did so I could continue to sell.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're selling, you guys start to really, crank numbers up. Where along the journey did you decide, hey, I'm going to go in and start to talk to the place where you bought your first boat and like acquire another location?
So that was at the end of 2023.
From 2018 to 2023, the one Rockville location. Yeah. And at a point like Rockville, Indiana, do you feel like you start to tap out of what you can sell from Raccoon Lake?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was getting there, but we just ran the report the other day. We sold to 36 states out of 50.
To come to Rockville?
We ship boats all over the country. We get people that come to us all over the country. We've had people fly in. We've had people.
Why?
Boats are just a very unique opportunity in the sense of when you go buy a vehicle today, that vehicle that you're buying, that GMC truck, they're going to build 1 million of them this year. So there's one within 20 miles in every color that you want. The boat that we have sitting on the showroom floor, there might not actually be another one made like it because they're not mass produced and they are handmade. So when you get something, whether it be used, whether it be new, it's unique in the sense of there's not another one out there. So if somebody's looking for something and they don't want to wait on ordering that something, they may be willing to drive.
That's wild. I had no idea. I kind of thought it was just a commodity thing where it's like, you serve your local area there, maybe with used if people want to like drive and travel or whatever, but 37 states?
36. Yeah.
36 of the 50 states have bought a boat from Rockville, Indiana.
Rockville, Indiana.
You start to, generate some momentum. Where did the lenders and manufacturers start to take you guys seriously?
I would say 2019. 2019, we became a top 10 dealer, one of our manufacturers.
A top 10, like nationally or statewide?
Nationally.
What was the manufacturer?
It's Avalon Pontoons.
And there's a difference between like fishing boats, pontoons, and speedboats. Yeah. How were you like managing, what to stock on the floor?
Yeah, so a good majority of our business is pontoons, tri-tins. We do sell fiberglass boats, and then recently, whenever we acquired Denny's, we got into Lund fishing boats.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they started to take you seriously in 2019, like around there?
Yeah.
And what were the challenges you were facing as you kept growing? I mean, again, you're commuting an hour and a half every day, both ways. 3 hours in the car to get out to Rockville and back. Yeah. You have to be there all the time.
All the time.
Like, what were these challenges that you were facing through that? I mean, at some point, COVID happens.
Yeah. Growth pains are, it's a real thing. I would say our biggest growth pain has always been people and talent acquisition, getting people behind you. And, being just a resilient leader. And,
what were the key early hires that you had to make to continue to let you play ball when it came to selling?
Service technicians, service writers, delivery drivers, paper pushers. I mean, people in the office that can get the things done that allow you to continue doing the thing that you're good at.
How were you improving the buying experience for people, for consumers at Reeder Trausch?
Meeting and greeting them with a smile at that point. I mean, you didn't have to do much more but that. As time has gone on, we've really dug into that. We've done a lot more. But at that point in time in our business, if you were meeting them with a smile at the door, you were probably doing 50% more than most other of your competitors.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, so then things keep going pretty well. I mean, give us how many boats did we move in 2022?
So 2019 we did 4 million. 2020 we did 8.5 million. 2021 we did 14 million. 2022 we did 19 million, and then 2023 we did 23 million in sales.
Bro,
yeah, it's been good.
That's insane. Okay, is that 2023? Was that before or after the acquisition?
That was before. So we started talking through the acquisition in December, and we closed in August of 2024.
So that one took a little bit longer.
That one took a little bit longer.
And you got a good thing going. It's like, hey, don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat. But you rock the boat. What got you into wanting to go and bring Denny's into the fold?
Growth. Where do we go from here? I've got people on my team that wanted opportunity. I've got people out in the real world that I'd like to bring in that aren't willing to drive an hour and a half. A bigger vision. There's more to life than a boat dealership in Rockville, Indiana. And, I just wanted to expand on that.
This wasn't the same. Like, they were doing more volume at Denny's.
Yeah.
Like, had you surpassed them? Were you guys bigger than them at that point?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we were doing twice as much business.
Okay. So that's still a decent acquisition to go in and make.
100%.
Take us through the process of making an acquisition and how to get that to the finish line.
Man, I'll tell you, the hardest thing is keeping it a secret, right? Because when that comes out, you've got manufacturers that may say, well, we've been thinking about doing business elsewhere and we don't know these guys in Rockville, and you may lose a manufacturer. You've got employees that have been there for 15, 20, 25 years that may say, I loved working for these guys, but I don't know what those guys are going to be like. I'm going to take off. And all while it may not even come to fruition, right? So the last thing you want to do is start talking about the thing that never happens.
Yeah.
And so keeping that a secret that whole time, all the way up until 30, 60 days of closing before you could, had to sit across people that you love and trust the most, but say, hey, before I can talk about this, sign here. And so that was probably one of the most difficult things.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was just, dotting I's, crossing T's, making sure that we do it right. It's a big purchase. And then just putting it all out on the line, because it is a purchase.
Yeah.
It's a big purchase. So that's what it took. I mean, it took everything.
How did you communicate to the new team that you're kind of folding under? Like, how many employees were you bringing into the fold?
When you say bringing them into the fold, are you talking about employees that I was acquiring? Or
employees that you were bringing from the acquisition through Denny's.
Yeah, so I was getting 11.
11.
Yep.
So you have 11 families, 11 people that have to know, like, and trust you, and they don't know you at all.
Yeah.
So how do you, what was the first conversation you have with the entire team?
Yeah, so we went over there, I think it was on a Monday, introduced ourselves, and then we brought every single one of them in one by one and got to know them, introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
Let them know what is to be expected of changes that are going to happen, what's not going to change that they don't have to worry about. Give them our cell phone number. Hey, you're going to have more questions. You're going to get home. Your wife, your husband is going to pepper you with questions. Just call me. Whatever you're worried about, call me. We'll talk through it. So there was a lot of conversations through that. A lot of them came out and visited Rockville to see, how we operate, talk to our employees out there. Hey, how's this work out here?
Mm-hmm.
And how is it working for these people? And we're an open book. So, we opened it up.
But the other piece is things can't stay entirely the same.
That's right.
You're bringing a new thing and it's like, well, hey, we went from 375 to doubling you guys up in a matter of 5, 6, 8 years, whatever it was. And some things will stay the same, but there are going to be changes, and you kind of have to get on the boat if you're going to be we keep using boat analogies. I love it. Right?
Right.
So was that well received? Was it kind of like you're telling them how it is? I think that's a big piece that leaders that are listening are like, new employees, or you get thrown into that leadership role and you're kind of like steering this thing. Like, I don't know. How did you guys balance that? And how did it go for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it went pretty well. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just sharing your vision and letting them know what's going to happen the moment that you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And nobody likes a secret, right? And people have livelihoods. They want to know what's going on. And so sharing that with them, keeping everything as simple and same as it was before for as long as you can while you're making that transition, I think really helps through that. But today, a year and what's it been, going up on 2 years in that acquisition, we've got 3 out of 11 left.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So sometimes change is hard.
Change is hard. Yeah. There's been a lot of change, all for the good. I mean, great change. Yeah. And all those people were great. They still are great. And everything was,
and like a business that is maintaining, like there are people that love that. It's like, I don't want it to be any different.
That's right.
I like getting in at the time I get in and leaving at the time I get in, and we do the same amount. Paycheck comes in the mail. Like we're chilling.
Yeah.
And when you are like, hey, we want to keep building and growing and expanding, we have a bigger vision. It's sometimes self-identifying that like, hey, you're like 63. And you're like, dude, going out. I love that you're young and hungry and want to go. Like, that's probably not for me. And like, maybe you self-identify out of that.
That's right.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. I'm following. So you're 2 years into it.
Yeah.
How have you helped, grow that? Like what have been because I mean, now you're a little bit closer to a big metropolitan.
That's right.
I mean, if you're getting people to fly all over the country to go to Rockville to, buy a boat there, I feel like it has to be semi easier to get people to come it's like on the southwest side of Indy.
Yeah. So what's funny about that is, we're going on 3 months, I believe. Rockville has beat Indy in sales and revenue. So,
what's the secret?
We've got a great team. I mean, we've got a great team at both places. I would say a little bit more seasoned. We've got 32 employees at our Indy location now, and as I said, when we took over 2 years ago, there was 11. And so there's been a lot of talent acquisition. And so it's a lot of new people. And when you think about it, the most senior somebody could be there is under 2 years, because that's how long we've owned the place.
Yeah.
So I would say just a lot of new people finding their way.
And it's literally like sports. It's seasons.
That's right.
It's not like you can get better, but you only go through so many marches. You only go through one march a year.
Yeah.
And like that's your busy time. You only go through kind of like end of season once a year.
Yeah.
So it's tough to know, okay, we're implementing these changes. Are they making an impact? It's like, well, we gotta wait till March to find out. We gotta wait till April to find out when people are buying a lot of boats.
That's right.
So it's like taking the principles, but it's like you can't implement your April principle in October.
Not even close.
Right? It's like people just aren't that. I feel like it'd be really hard. People in Indiana are not that motivated to buy a boat at the end of the season, right? Yeah. Is that how it goes?
You'd be surprised. So December, we actually close for 2 weeks. We give everyone paid 2 weeks off, Christmas and New Year's. So we shut down for 2 weeks. And in December, I believe Indy, with like 14 working days, we sold 21 boats. In Rockville, I think it was like 16 or 17 boats in 14 working days. So, I mean, is it as busy as it is in May? No, it's not. But are people still, are we still moving the needle? Are people still buying boats? Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. I mean, that's just the patience for someone like that to be like, yeah, I'm going to buy this boat in December and I can't wait to use it in May.
There's a lot less urgency.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot less.
So you got to really like the boat or be getting a good deal or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So give us a perspective now in 2026. You've acquired a new location. You have kind of gotten them into the fold. They've tripled an employee count. You're moving a lot of boats. Like, give us a sense of where Reeder Trausch is today and where you're going in the future.
Yeah, I love that question. So as we've grown, we are seeing opportunity to really dive into other markets. We will definitely be growing from other acquisitions. So stay tuned. You'll be hearing more about that.
Oh, boy.
But I mean, when you start looking at the things that you do and the people that you do them with and the amount of business that you do, then you start kind of asking yourself, okay, so we buy 400 trailers a year. Well, the people that we buy them from only make 1,000 of them. So at what point do we start building our own trailers, right? Corporate insurance, you spend $300,000 a year on insurance. Well, at what point do you just start your own insurance agency? So when we start looking at the other facets of the business, and then how else can we serve our customer? Could we serve our customer better by offering them insurance while they're in getting their boat and making a seamless process? We've recently built a storage facility that has 80 standalone storage units. That's for boat and RV parking. What could we do to make it a better experience, to make it easier to do business with us?
With someone that you trust.
That's right.
See, sometimes though, I think entrepreneurs can get lost in chasing too many shiny objects.
That's right.
What do you think about, you talk about, I don't know. I'm not saying that you can't, it's all figure outable. If people can figure it out, you can figure it out. Right. But it's like selling boats is working.
Yeah.
You talk about then taking your attention to insurance, trailers, storage. Do you find it hard to context switch like that?
No, because it like I said earlier, it takes an army, and I could fill this room up and many more with the army that have helped me do the things that we've done. Yeah. Right. This is, you're interviewing one person, but I got 60 others that you could talk to that helped me do the things that have made us the people that we are today. So when we talk about another acquisition, or we talk about doing this or doing that, that's not just me. That's my people. My people, they get it done. They're great. And that's a main focus of ours, is that talent acquisition and building those future leaders.
What's the secret? I feel like everyone always talks about talent. It's so hard to find good people. It's so hard to train people. The list goes on and on and on. Yeah. You're convincing studs, absolute, great people. It's half of them, or over half of them, live and work in Rockville, Indiana.
Yeah.
And it's that is, I love small towns. I'm from a small town. I shout out all love to Rockville. But some people are just that's just not the lifestyle that I want. How have you been able to attract, retain all this talent and keep a rock star team? Or is it more of finding them, but then developing them?
Yeah, you said it best right there. So we are not out necessarily, recruiting studs. We're recruiting good, hardworking people, and we are giving them the tools to become a stud. Yeah. And so we have a junior leadership program. We spend a lot of time and money in just building our team and, from the ground up. So a lot of the people that are with me that are just A players, they did not come in as an A player, but they came in with an A personality as an A person, and now they're an A player.
What are you looking for when identifying high potential individuals to join your team?
Somebody that can have self-motivation, somebody that has empathy, somebody that can be relatable and just can meet our core standards, right? Punctuality, honesty, integrity, you name it. The list goes on. And if they can meet most of those that we can't train, then they're in. And
you can figure out how to sell a boat.
That's right.
You can figure out how to service a boat that. Those are all learned skills, I would say.
Right. Yeah.
There's some soft skills that help with selling, but if you do, the 10 core traits of just being an A human being, an A person, a lot of that can figure itself out along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'd much rather go get a guy or a gal that has never been in a service department, that's never been in a sales department. Because like you said, that's all trainable behavior, right? And it's the behaviors that we can't train that we need them to have to start those building blocks.
No bad habits.
That's right.
You never, you had no bad boat selling habits because you never sold a boat.
100%.
Right? It's hey, we're kind of building it while we're flying here. Now, Jay, I hope you take this in the best way possible. You seem very, very committed, dedicated, and passionate about building Reeder Trausch.
Yeah.
Almost a little bit he's intense. You're an intense guy when it comes to selling boats.
I'm sure I am.
How do you translate your intensity and your passion for selling boats to a team of people that aren't owners?
It's tough. But you give them the tools and you spend the time. And the biggest flaw that could be had that will run people off is standing over their shoulder and telling them how to do every little thing rather than showing them how to do the thing and then showing them the result that you're looking for and letting them go find their own path to get there.
Is that hard? A lot of us build up, we have one way to do it. Like, I know how I sell a boat. I know how I make a video. I know how I do this.
Yeah.
And, like someone's learning and they're like figuring it out. And it's like, well, you're not doing it the way I wanted to. Or like you bring someone in that's like, well, have you ever thought about doing it? And it's like, no, we do it this way.
Yeah.
Like how do you balance that?
So patience for one, and but honestly, like I'm looking for that person that says, hey, have you ever thought about doing it this way? I encourage that. I want to hear that. But there's a good conversation that needs to be had about, if we don't do it that way, don't get upset. And don't let it stop you from also telling me the next thing that you would do a different way. Because one of those times we may actually just go that route.
Yeah. And it's like the ability to present ideas and whatever one you pick, it's like, cool, commit and go all in on that.
Let's do it.
Like no ego, right? It's just like, hey, whoever has the idea, whether it's you or whether it's someone else. I think that's the hard part too of like when you run a rapidly growing business. It's like, dude, you never done this before.
Right.
You never acquired your third boat. Like, it's like, hell, I don't know. I'm figuring it out as we go too, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that being upfront and like, honest with people, it's like, hey, we're figuring, it's all figure outable. Like we're doing this. This is my reasoning as to why we're doing this. But like, you might have a really great idea that we can implement and start to run with.
Yeah.
Are there any great ideas that people, that your employees have come to you with that have been like,
ooh,
oh.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. For sure.
Yeah, where it's like
a lot of the things that we do today were not my idea, right? A lot of my ideas are long gone. But I'm not, I'm there every day. But
You still drive, or are you at one of the spots every day?
Yeah, so I split up my time. I split up my time.
Because the other piece would be, it's like, well, does your crew at Rockville start to get salty that, oh, Jay just all in Indy now? Like
maybe at first, but like I have really good partners. Monty's awesome. We spend a lot of time together, but sometimes he'll be at one and I'll be at the other. I've got Stacy, who's just a rock star. She's been with me since 2019. She's my general manager, my partner out in Rockville. I've got Tyler, who's been with me since 2020 or 2021, who's at Indy. He came from Rockville. They're my left and my right. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't do it without them.
What I want to know, advice for other business owners, advice for people, if they're in boats, if they're not in boats, if they're in cars, if they're in media, whatever they're in.
Yeah.
How do you build a business that can quadruple, double, increase by significant volume every single year?
Be acceptable to change and always be looking for the next thing, right? So what you're doing now is getting the results that you're getting. So if you want different results, you probably should start looking at doing something different. Other than that, man, it's a long game. So many people just give up. And if you just stay in, like you'll just outlast everyone. And if you build a team around you, then that team will figure it out. Yeah. But you've got to give them the tools and you got to let them figure it out. Like, I mean, that's the toughest part, right? Is let them fail. Like, let them fail. You failed. You're going to fail more. Let them fail. Let them take ownership. And they won't treat it as if it was theirs like you do because it's yours. But man, they will start owning some stuff.
There's a financial component, right? Like, people don't go to work for free.
Right.
People have motivations that help them get up every day. But like, that's only going to take you so far.
That's right.
Like paychecks get you, a lot of the way there. Yeah. But they also have to feel like, I like who I'm doing this with. I like what I'm doing. And I feel almost like challenged.
Yes.
Like the average human being that's like an A player wants to show up and be like mentally stimulated at work and be like, I'm solving interesting problems. Sometimes you're failing and other times you're winning. And you're like feeling like, that feeling when you like finish a crossword puzzle or like a Sudoku or whatever. And you're like, oh yeah, that's a good feeling.
That's right.
I feel like a lot of people want that.
Yeah.
Wow. What I want to know, okay, we're kind of getting to the end of the show. We're going to talk all about Indiana at the end. But one last question from an entrepreneurship standpoint. Where was the worst day of owning Reeder Trausch?
There was a day in 2018. And so we had our first employee, Gavin. And I don't even remember, it was a Thursday, Friday. Stephanie, my office manager at the time, had something going on with her son. She was gone. Monty had something prior engagement. He was gone. I was on the phone with a customer. And there's customers coming in and out. The phone's ringing. And at the time we were remodeling, putting in a parts room. And I remember I had Gavin on a ladder and he was taking down metal walls. And I was on the phone with a customer, and all of a sudden I just hear screaming from Gavin. And I'm like, I don't even think I said I got to go or nothing. I just hung up. And I remember walking around the corner, and I remember he had a cutoff wheel in his hand last time I saw him. And I don't hear the cutoff wheel anymore, and he's just screaming. And so I had no idea what I was going to find when I came around that corner. And, we've made no money, right? Like I had a really good career. Like I'm there every morning super early. I'm staying till 8, 9 o'clock at night and driving home. I'm not eating. Like it's just not healthy. It's just not healthy. And I'm doing all the things. We all were. We were doing all the things. And I come around the corner, and Gavin's laying on the ground. He's just screaming his head off, and he's saying that he fell and he did something to his ankle or his heel. And so I call 911, and they come and follow him to the hospital. And when I get there, he's still screaming his head off. There's no blood, nothing, right? And so the doctor comes back, and I'm in there with him. And he holds up the X-ray, and the dude's heel was shattered in like 100 different places. Like it was just nuts. And I just remember thinking, like, people are getting hurt around me. Like I'm failing customers. I'm failing this business. Like that, just in my mind, this place is just, what was I thinking, right? And I don't know if that was the worst day. There was a lot of, until today, there's really tough days. But man, it's just a day, and it's going to get better. So it's like, I'm going to get through this one, and tomorrow's going to be better. And if tomorrow's worse, then the day after that will actually get better. And if you just have that mindset and you don't give up, man, I'm telling you, you will, and you're working hard, and you're doing all the things, you will find success.
Relentless optimism, right? Like just relentless optimism. Like even if today is worse than yesterday, like tomorrow, whatever the tomorrow is, like keep work, and you got to work to make it better. And there's that feeling like that only you know.
Yeah.
Like when you look in the mirror, you'll know if you're giving it everything you have.
That's right.
And you'll know the days that you aren't.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if you didn't give it all today and like you came up short in a few places, figure out how to do it tomorrow.
That's right.
And it's like, yeah, you're right. The ones that give up, like success finds its way to winners, and winners find their way to success. Like, and it's one of those things where it's like you won't, and even like the most successful people probably don't feel that successful.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're figuring out, one, you have to do like the self-evaluation of like, what do you really enjoy? How's your perspective on, what success looks like? Has it changed over the years?
Yeah. I think when I was, 19, 20, I was chasing money.
You even said it earlier, like you got into a lot of the stuff because you liked nice things.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with liking nice things. Right. But I think that once, they always talk about like the amount of money that you can make in a year, and like your happiness doesn't really change much after that. And it's like, I feel like age and time gives people perspective.
Yeah.
How has your perspective changed?
Yeah. So my perspective's changed 3 times.
Okay.
And so there was a point in my life where it was money, and I was chasing money 100%. And that's just what I want, because I like nice things, just like I said, just like you said. And then that moved over to like, okay, so I'm making pretty good money. Like I just want to be number one. Like I want to win. And so I was willing to do just what it took to be number one. And then that changed somewhere in the past few years to where I want to build people and watch them succeed. And so if success to them is money, if success to them is nice things, if success to them is winning, like I just want to watch them win. I want to watch them make good money. Like there's nothing more I love when my people, have some big accomplishment, right? They get an award, or they get a bonus, or they go buy a house, or they get married, right? Like that's what success and winning is for me. So the more people on my team that I can see succeed, and whatever they feel like success is, like that's success for me.
I love that, dude. Incredible. That's a perfect place to put a pin in it on the entrepreneurship stuff. That is just like an awesome journey. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for Reeder Trausch. I think that your passion and your intensity when it comes to boats it's unmatched, dude. I love it. This next question is brought to you by our friends at J Hurless. They're a leader in creating enjoyable living experiences at apartment communities all across Indiana and beyond. Check them out at homeisjchart.com. So my question for you, Jay, why do you call Indiana home?
Because I was born here.
But I mean, like once you start going, the boat business probably be a little bit easier in Florida.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you could see it that way, or, I fight that argument often because I built one heck of a business in Rockville, Indiana.
Yeah.
And, in Florida, there's boat dealerships on top of each other down there. No, I mean, I love Indiana. I love the weather. I love the fall. I love the spring.
That's a lot coming from a guy in the boat biz.
Yeah.
Like you like it when it gets to the out of season. Like that
and I love when it's really hot too, right?
Amen.
So, not so much when it's cold, but Indiana's home for me because of the people. I mean, really, truly, Hoosiers are just a different, walk of life. I've been to many places all over the country, all over the world, and there's not a lot of places that you'll go that people will hold the gas station door open for you. And somebody brought that to my attention. They were in town visiting. It was a supplier or something. I don't remember. And he said, he was from Cleveland, Ohio. And he said, I don't think I've ever been somewhere where everybody holds the door open for you. And I said, yeah, because you're in Indiana, baby. It's
yes, sir.
Country.
Hoosier hospitality.
That's right.
Come on. All right. Next question. What is your favorite Indiana memory?
Answer might have been different several weeks ago. But today it's the 50th anniversary of the Indy Mini that I just ran.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best memory. And it's a week old. So I
Let's
remember
go
pretty vividly.
That's hype.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the adrenaline and, the discipline it took to get there and all the things, but the memory of being there, running through, running around the track, kissing the bricks, the band's playing and everyone cheering you on. I mean, that's a memory that I will not ever forget.
That's a hype one for sure. Yeah. I love that. Okay, 2 questions left for you. This is your opportunity to shed some light on a part of the state that more people need to be talking about. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
In Rockville, Indiana. And it's called The Ranch. And it's just like this really neat restaurant bar. Like it's like super nice. It's like marble cut floors. Like the decor is really cool. The food's amazing. They've got like all these drink specials. Like you've got to go out there and check it out. Like
The Ranch.
It's called The Ranch. It's like really, really cool.
The Ranch in Rockville, Indiana. Yeah, I'm all in on this.
It's right across the street from the state park at Raccoon. And it is like my favorite non-steakhouse restaurant.
Dude, it's fire.
Like it is amazing. Like when you come out and visit, like we're going to lunch there. Like you're going to love it.
Yeah. The Ranch is a swanky, quaint cafe featuring a full espresso bar, zesty fare, fun, fresh sandwiches, wraps, and paninis without the deep fried foods or greasy cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Specialty cocktails. Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
The Ranch.
No fryer in the whole place.
Come on.
Yeah.
Which, like in small town Indiana, is surprising. I love it. The Ranch. Okay, finally, this is where we source new guest ideas and hear about other people that are doing incredible things. Who's a Hoosier we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
Well, if you can get him here, let's get Kurt Signetti here. Let's go.
Dude, the ultimate new Hoosier. Like you talk about like increasing the community of Indiana. That guy's crazy. He's awesome.
That guy is a leader that I do strive to be.
Yeah, you talk about building high performing teams, taking like a bunch of spare parts and misfit toys and putting them together into an incredible.
Nothing excites them. I mean, dude, like they could get, they could get tackled, 20 yards back, or they could score a touchdown and get the extra points. And the dude is just even keel.
Yeah. Steady Eddie.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Jay, it's been a pleasure to have you in the studio, hearing all about Reeder Trausch Marine and what you guys have built. It's an incredible story. And I think that it goes out there, like you talk about being young and setting yourself up to go out and win. Like, I just think the idea of going from high school dropout to running a company with, tons of employees, doubling, quadrupling, like, the diplomas and the this and that, like that doesn't make who someone is, but it's like the sum of the work, right? It's like, are you willing to do the things to get you where you want to go? If you said it earlier, if you're doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. And clearly, dude, you went on work ethic. Like that's, I think bottom line, if we were giving advice to entrepreneurs out there listening, the way to win is just by outlasting, just work. Work.
That's right.
I love it, man. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all my gear recommendations at Sweetwater. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.